You know, today your work centers a lot on creativity, play, and mental well-being, especially in cultures like our North American culture where we reward overwork and burnout. How do you live differently now because of what you learned then?
Mm. Well, one thing is I made a joke with some people before I left Nashville last month. The joke was that all the work that I do with kids and the work that I do with adults and founders and entrepreneurs wouldn't work in most other countries. Like it would just wouldn't work. I would be out of a job because of what you said earlier. But um, but I would say that the way that I live now, based around the not my work that I do, but just where I'm at in life,
Mm,
is that I don't have to think really hard about how I can disconnect from the busyness,
mm,
and it just now it just comes naturally, and it was a lot of work to get there. I mean, clearly, but I prioritize so much that I just kept pushing back year after year after year, not just play, but mental wellness, mental well-being. That suffered tremendously. As a founder, most entrepreneurs get that when I say that. Nobody talks about that dark side of being the entrepreneur. And I have something that I can always go back to know that I will never get there again.
sure.
Um, Year 6 of my first company is when it all kind of came tumbling down and me not wanting to, exist anymore. I was done. I was done. I wanted to call it quits in business and in life. And that was one of those things that, I made it a priority, um, you know, because of that experience that I will never, if I know a founder and entrepreneur, I will always make it a point to know that they have somebody in their corner and that how important it is to build connection and community with other fellow entrepreneurs and mentors and advisors, coaches, whatever. And so I think for me, being able to take time out of every single day, step back, and I call it take five.
Mm,
And it's simple, it's quick. I just take 5 minutes and I completely disconnect from everything going on around me, from work, emails, you name it. And I just play. I do something that has no end result. And to me, I'm a musician. So, I mentioned this in my TEDx talk, but sometimes I sit behind the drums for 5 minutes and I just play.
mm.
And it doesn't make sense sometimes. There's no rhythm to it. I'm just playing around. And it's either that or just, running outside and going on a walk, that I consider that play. And so, yeah, that all of that is starting to come just naturally and where it never did before. And that's kind of the biggest piece for me, there.
I love that. And the fact that you reference today, it's already well queued up in how you function, what you know to turn to, what's a simpler form of play, maybe a more complex, et cetera, right? So you have your list. That's actually one of the things that I took away when we had our call preparing for our podcast a few months ago. I left that call and immediately went and like created my list, right? My list of things to do that gives me joy and creates easy outlets and not always waiting for a vacation or a cruise or something big to play in, but what's the everyday stuff, right? So I now have my favorite mug where I can feel the heat in the right way for my coffee, or the spot on the back porch. I actually redid my patio furniture so I can enjoy the backyard a little bit more. And or my son brought me it's become my favorite garment, a new robe for Christmas, and it's just the right texture, right? It's just the warmth it creates. So I've incorporated it into my day and how I move and start my morning in particular. And so I love this idea of small things that you can do to create play and to create that outlet and create and provide that mental health break that we all need, whether we're entrepreneurs or not. Life is hard. Life is complex. We can get disappointed and frustrated easily, especially when we've been working hard at something for a long time and it isn't quite realized, or the finances are tight, or we're fighting with significant others, or family is family, right? So all the things that makes life hard, having these ways to step back and reassess and take that break and tap out for a moment so that we're not as tempted to tap out for forever.